Hello, 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 one and all. This is another Justice League session, little hangout session. Unfortunately, I don't have much time, so it's going to be really short. Uh, we're going to do a quick update on the box office for Justice League. We're going to look at quick uh, Justice League news, talk a little bit about that, and we'll also talk a little bit about plot of Justice League. Some people say there are plot holes, so we're going to see if there are any plot holes that you and I saw. I didn't really did I see some plot holes? I don't really see plot holes, but we're going to talk a little bit about that, all right? And then I might elaborate a little bit more on the characters in Justice League. We talked about Wonder Woman the last discussion, and we may try and get our hands on some of the minor characters in the film. They're not leads like Alfred, Pennyworth, and we had Lois Lane, and we also had Martha Kent. It was interesting just touching on those characters for a minute. We also had Lex Luthor at the end and Deadshot, and I think they have something to play. They have some role to play in the middle of the film. I have speculation about that. You guys can also offer your speculation on these things. But let's start off with the box office for Justice League. All right, typing in right now here, Justice League's box office. Box office mojo seems to be a little bit behind. I don't know how, but Justice League crossed 500 million this week. But anyway, their domestic total for Justice League as of yesterday, which was Thursday, today's Friday. Thursday, it made $1,887,000. Wednesday, it made $1,902,000. So, like I said before, those are low figures. Those are low figures domestically. It's doing its thing internationally, but domestically, those are low figures. So, we need those domestic figures to go up, or at least be that equal amount next week. We need at least that amount next week. So we have our work cut out to do when it comes to uh, Justice League getting our word out there. And I have a couple setbacks on Facebook, but we'll see what we can do to really push this movie forward. All right, the movement has rolled on though. We picked up a couple people on Facebook, and it's still not the number that I was looking for, shooting for. I worked whole day today on this movie, just trying to do what I could. And people are being educated about this movie, so I'm cool about that. The next thing I said I was going to talk about was some of the news out there. You guys can chime in anytime you want. But here's some of the news on Justice League. I'm just going to do a quick Google search, see what's up. So we got some negative things, but we also got some positive things, that are being posted. And that's interesting because it was like an avalanche of just negative stuff, you know. And so let's get into it a little bit, right? So the AV Club, they said there's at least one absolutely great scene in Justice League, and we all know what that scene is. We all know what that scene is. That's the showstopper. That's the scene with the Flash running behind Superman, Superman tracking the Flash. That is an absolutely fantastic scene. There's a couple of fantastic scenes. When Superman returns to fight Steppenwolf, that's a fantastic, uplifting scene that really just takes up the movie. We had another moment with the Flash when he knocked the sword back into Wonder Woman's hand. That was a fantastic scene. So there were a couple of them. Oh, of course, the throwback scene with the Amazon, Zeus, the god Zeus and Ares and Athena. I believe it's Athena. I'm not too sure. I need to get the behind the scenes book. Those scenes were also exciting. And man, I mean, you had a couple really great moments. Steppenwolf had a really great villainous moment when he knocked away the arrow that Hippolyta was shooting at him, and he really looked dominating. He really looked powerful. And Steppenwolf has never really been that super powerful. I think this is the most powerful Steppenwolf has ever been, to be honest with you. Even the New 52 that had the Steppenwolf in there wasn't as powerful. Anyway, let's look at some stuff in the news, and I thought this is really cool. So they were talking about one of the absolutely great scenes in Justice League that everybody agrees was a great scene. That's in the AV Club. They still were very negative about the film, but still they had that to say. And then let's see what else they got here. Then they got some other good news here. They got a couple things. I enjoyed Justice League, and it's okay if you did too. That's opinion. Comes from opinion. NDTV. So someone posted that up. So that's good. So we got some positive things. They talked about Justice League topping 500 million by Forbes. Let's see what else. I got a couple of things in the news that were positive. Now, if some of you write articles and stuff, you know what, like what we did with Suicide Squad, we didn't do it with BVS, but with Suicide Squad, I think some of you even post some positive articles on Wonder Woman. I think some of you can again get out there and do your writing. All right, the group I've set up, Justice League Unite, basically again supports the Justice League by putting out positive material. Now, people are talking about Infinity War, and they're riding off Justice League's coattails, and I already hear people saying favorable things about that. We know it. We know about that, right? We know people put down Justice League to big up Marvel. We know how it goes. BVS, they did it. Same thing with Civil War. They did it with. They even wrote off of Wonder Woman's coattails, so they're gonna ride over it. And I'm not mad at Marvel for doing that, to be honest with you, because it's an industry and you gotta try and get your product to boost up. But it's just the fakeness and the politics in the industry. We know they're bad mouthing Justice League, and they tried to set up Justice League to fail. So it's not one of those things where, and it's so silly that the so-called DC fans fell for that. They felt hook, line, and sinker. I had a Marvel fan laughing at the DC people now. They're laughing at the people because they took the bait so easily. And it's what it is. It is what it is. But I think that what this film offers, that's the difference between these Marvel films and these films. I think this film offers concrete things. That's why Wonder Woman had an impact. Of course, the establishment didn't want to go against Wonder Woman because it was politically incorrect, all right? But yet they go against Zack Snyder. The establishment hates Zack Snyder, okay? And you guys you DC fans, you so-called DC fans, just helped to destroy Zack Snyder a little bit more. And you just fell for it, hook, line, and sinker, man. Not you guys who may be on my podcast, on this hangout here, but the other so-called DC fans. And they just fell for it, and they just went with it. It's so stupid. I'm watching this whole thing, and I'm thinking, man, are these guys really that dumb? But I guess they are. So it is what it is. But it's cool that we still are rooting for this movie to succeed, even though everybody's already written off this movie as a failure, and it hasn't failed yet. Okay, so let's keep on pushing. Let's keep on grinding, because I believe this movie will succeed at getting to $1 billion if we keep the hope of that happening. Not always when you hope for something, it happens. That's why it's called hope. It's positive possibilities. But you must make that effort. It's better you try and fail than you don't try at all. And we know the situation is grim for this movie, but we, the fans, the real DCEU fans, I call us the real DCEU fans, because we're not fake like that. We don't go into fake outrage. We're not going to ride with nonsense. You know what I'm saying? But the film, everybody agrees the film was not nonsense. Everybody agrees the film was enjoyable. Everybody agrees they liked the film. There are very few people who said they hated the film or they didn't like the film. Very few. So what the hell is wrong with people? Why would you now root for this film to fail when it's a good film? If it wasn't a good film and the critics were rating it up and everything, and it failed at the box office, I wouldn't be there defending it. But this is a good film, and it is a Zack Snyder film. People talking about it went in different directions. No. Hold up. Joss Whedon would do his thing. Warner Brothers did want to, as we say, soften up the hardcore elements of the film. All right, yeah, they did that. But you cannot, and so they could get little children inside to watch the film. I get it. But at the end of the day, be that as it may, there is very little of that film that is not Zack Snyder. And there's very little of that film that you can fault and say, oh man, this film didn't say Zack Snyder's message. All right? In fact, you guys are going to see, you know what? I hope this film does well so we can get a Zack Snyder cut. So you can see that this film is not different to what Zack Snyder was going to put out anyway. Aesthetically, it may be slightly different in tone, but I prefer this tone to what Zack Snyder had because it has more color so I could see it better. And what I heard, Zack Snyder was going for this kind of thing anyway. So at the end of the day, what people are making a big deal out is they say that certain things were removed from the film, which is minor to the story. This is essentially the story Zack Snyder was going to tell anyway. All right. So I just don't get it, man. I really don't get the outrage. It's fake. It's fabricated. All of this hullabaloo and talking about Warner Brothers is panicking. Warner Brothers ain't panicking. Okay. Warner Brothers, what I mean by Warner Brothers, they're not pointing fingers and stuff like that in Warner Brothers. That would be stupid. I haven't heard an official statement from Sugiyama. I haven't heard an official statement from nobody. Everything is just rumors. Zack Snyder hasn't made an official statement yet. When Zack Snyder makes an official statement, I hope he does. But I do believe that Zack is wanting us, the fans, to sort this out. He wants us to choose. And as much as people say that Warner Brothers did Zack wrong, I don't think Warner Brothers did Zack wrong this wrong. He's too valuable a property for Warner Brothers for them to do him wrong. That would be stupid. And just the way how they treated this film, I looked at it from beginning to end, the way how they treated this film, they took their time and they were very careful how they went about doing things. All right. So no, I cannot endorse or believe what people out there are saying, folks. I just can't do that. You know what I'm saying? All right. Now I know some of you probably in the comment section and you just like tearing up my comment section right now. I'm not really looking at the hangout section. All right. I haven't even pointed it out. Don't worry about it. I'm going to get to there. I'm going to get to you guys. All right. I'm going to get to you guys. You guys come to my hangout. I'm going to treat you right. I'm going to treat all of you right. So, what we have to do as fans, though, is it's simple, really. It's just spreading good word. So you go on social media and basically you can share my videos. You can share anybody who else was positive on this thing. You don't have to stick to my videos. You don't even have to stick to YouTube. And you just share it on social media and you get into circles. You get into groups. Start getting into more groups online. Start getting into more groups. Get to the Warner Brothers Justice League site. Get to Warner Brothers site and just start spreading positive things. Don't even worry about the feedback. Just keep spreading positive things. It's that simple, really. That's for online. And then if some of you can make articles, you guys are good at writing. John King did an article on Facebook. Awesome. If you guys can write for a magazine, Screen Rant, whatever, you know, make your voices known. Because when the more you speak positive things, it has now a counterbalance to the negative things. And now the negative people, they're going to have to try and answer you back. And you don't have to answer them. All you have to just keep on doing is positive things. That's basically the model I learned. Actually, the Justice League movie gives us the template for everything we need to do to make this movie successful. Zack put everything inside of there. Zack, Chris Terrio, Joss Whedon didn't do much script, actually. He just kind of cleaned up on things, neatened up on things, maybe redid things. What I mean by redid, same words, same script, just took it and made the actors do it over, right? That's about it, just to tie up loose ends. That's all Joss Whedon did, and he kind of messed around with the aesthetic a little bit. That's about it. At the end of the day, Joss Whedon couldn't do much with this movie. And that's awesome because, honestly, I know the comedic moment with Aquaman on top of the, what do you call that thing? On top of the lasso, it was good. And I'm going to say this. I'm going to go out on a limb and say Zack Snyder's cut is going to be good. But somehow I'm going to get a feeling that I'm going to like Joss Whedon and Zack Snyder's collaboration better than Zack Snyder's cut. I'm going out on a limb and saying that because when I looked at Suicide Squad, I thought that Suicide Squad was good just the way it was theatrically. I thought it was very inventive how the director approached the film. It had a different style. It was inventive. It didn't necessarily follow all the so-called traditional classical laws of how to do filmmaking. I thought that was cool. I thought that was awesome. I wasn't seeing the same old boring Hollywood crap I see all the time. You know, not to disrespect Marvel films, but they go the same stupid Hollywood crappy route. Okay, not to diss on Logan, because some of you all will say it should win an Academy Award, but it was predictable. It was flowing like a typical Hollywood film. Okay. And I like independent films because they take risk and they do things different. I like avant-garde films. I like foreign films because they're different. They have a different feel, a different tone, a different grade. I'm all about difference, but difference that is not just different for being different, different with a meaning. And I just feel like these DCEU films have been just so different and different flavor to the superhero genre. Even though Suicide Squad was thin on plot, it had a little plot going on in there. I thought that the film, just the way it presented itself, was unique, different, and fresh. And that's the thing you want. You don't just want to come and see us every movie and they look the same and they behave the same. Come on, man. You know what I'm saying? And it challenged Marvel to step up their game. You know, Logan with the rated R thing. They had Deadpool recently. And Deadpool, to me, is a load of shit. I'm just going to be real with y'all guys. I don't know how people could like that movie. It just doesn't resonate with me at all in any way, shape, or form. You know, I tried to watch the movie and I just had to turn the thing off. You know, it does not appeal to me. Okay? It's just not my type of movie. And for those people who say, oh, the meta-human stuff, I'm like, look, man, humor's overrated, man. I don't go into the cinema to laugh, really, honestly. Please, you know, Man of Steel, I loved Man of Steel. I didn't laugh much. I think I laughed once in the movie. I enjoyed that. And I didn't have to laugh. You know, I watch a Justice League over and over again. I don't have to laugh at Justice League. I don't have to laugh at every joke. Some jokes make you laugh. You can't help it. But at the end of the day, because they're funny, but at the end of the day, I don't need to laugh to enjoy a movie. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I got to say about that. All right, let me take some of your guys' questions because I absolutely don't know what you're saying and I don't know what's going on out there because I have not been watching at what's happening. So let me see what you guys are doing. If you guys actually checked out my video, where you are at, what you guys doing. What you're saying. I don't know what's up. Yo, lit up the place. Tom Cabler is in the building. Shout out to you, Tom Cabler. All right. Love Amazon scenes. Oh, geez, man. The Amazons, man, they tight, man. I hope they get their own movie one day. We need all DC fans to see this movie. Not only DC fans, Marvel fans, everybody, a fan of cinema. Go see the movie because I'm learning that everybody that's seen this movie, everybody I know that saw this movie enjoyed it. They enjoyed the movie. That's what you go to the movies to do. And then, of course, there's the subliminals and all these other things the movie's passing on to you. But yeah, you know, you go to enjoy a movie. You know what I'm saying? Christina Carter, the film was great. It's just that the CGI was bad on Superman and a lot of scenes from the trailers were cut. That's why everyone is mad. Again, that is the CGI on Superman actually has improved. Have you seen it in 2D, Christina Carter? You can always reply to me. In 2D, it was dope. It was dope. They have improved the CGI actually since the first time I saw it. But I saw it in 3D the first time. I saw it in 2D. 2D is better. Or if you go to IMAX, IMAX is actually better. They've been improving it actually as they're showing the films, you know, because we got digital now, so they can improve things. You know what I'm saying? Tom Cabler. I didn't think the CG was bad on Superman when I saw it, because you probably saw it later. The earlier cuts, oh, it was obvious. It was obvious. It didn't take from the movie for me, but it was obvious. Yeah. Christina Carter. When the kids were questioning him, he looked really weird in some scenes. His mouth. Yeah. The left side of his mouth. This side of his mouth was kind of a little bit weird. Yeah. I saw it too. But they actually fixed it up a bit, Christina. If you go back and watch it, you'll be surprised. But you got to watch it in 2D if you're in just a normal cinema. Or if you're in IMAX, it looks a lot better in IMAX. I haven't seen it in IMAX yet, but I heard it's really good in IMAX. So I want to go and see it in IMAX. So it depends on what version. You see, when you're doing CGI, you have to format it for every single version, just like how you do video or sound for every single version. I think they didn't have the 3D down packed yet. In fact, the 3D was a little blurry to me. When I went in 2D, I could see everything. When Batman was fighting that criminal, oh, man, that was sweet. Oh, my gosh. Beautiful how Zack Snyder makes that cape flow on him and how he just kind of leaps off the building and the cape kind of, oh, snap. I love it. Yeah, Zack's son spoke and said it had a lot of cuts. Yeah, he said a lot of stuff was taken out of the movie and the pacing, but I think they designed it that way. I was trying to explain to you guys, Warner Brothers was basically trying to get a cut that would engross people, that would keep them absorbed to the film. And so whatever wasn't essential to the plot of the movie, they removed. That's basically what you saw. which is what we're going to get to that part of the discussion right now, where we talk a little bit about plot holes. If you saw any plot holes in the movie, you know what I'm saying? You guys can talk about plot holes. I'll see if I can give an explanation to certain things. You know what I'm saying? But other than that, I think it's cool. Christina Carter, do you think Justice League will make more than 800 million? Well, I hope for it to make $1 billion, and I still hold fast to that. I hope it makes $1 billion. It's halfway there already, and within 2 weeks, it's halfway there. This is going to be the third weekend. Let's see if they can make see if we can make it past, you know, we'll see how far we can go, you know, with it. But let me tell you guys this. That here's the good thing about Justice League that I love. I love that Justice League gives us an opportunity to implement what we've seen on the screen and to be hopeful. And from hopefulness, you can believe. And when you believe, you can actually do things that you never thought you were capable of doing, and untap things that you never thought you could untap. The fact that you guys are here having a discussion with me tells me you care about this movie, one. And two, that you want to do something. And it's real simple what you have to do. You still have to go to work. You still got to live your life. But just giving positive word of mouth on this movie. Being realistic, acknowledging the dark sides of the thing, right? But still at the same time, acknowledging the fantastic parts of just watching this movie is what makes a difference, guys. You understand what I'm saying? I like I said before, I don't think of it as a masterpiece per se. I do rank it up there right after Batman v Superman. I actually have it ahead of Man of Steel and Wonder Woman, because this movie got so much stuff going for it. It has the action going for it. It still has a good plot going for it, because there's these subplots of the different characters which are interesting, and then it builds up to the major plot against the villain, right? And the important thing was that the villain was powerful, and that the League couldn't just take the villain just like that. And that was the important part of the movie, which it actually worked out that way. And I love that the movie had action all the way through it. You know, there was the quiet parts of the movie as we were building up, you know, building the characters. But for the most part, this movie had a lot of action in it. Most Zack Snyder films, I will say, generally have their bulk of action at the end of the movie, like really at the end of the movie, the third act. That's where you get all your action. In this movie, we had action in the first act, in the second act, and in the third act, which was awesome. It was off the charts action, beautiful angles, the way how gods would fight. Man, I loved it. I loved it. I think what Joss Whedon did was he got to the point with everything. So this movie moves quickly and it gets to the point. And I thought that was a beautiful way to move this movie along, because it's not a very complicated plot. It's a linear movie. So everybody could have followed this movie from beginning to end. And I thought that was good. He, for the most part, did a good job. But he did have one or two plot holes in the movie that I noticed. I'm not going to tell you guys what those plot holes are. I'm going to hear from you what you thought the plot holes in this movie were. So you guys can kick that off. Let me see. Tom Cable says, I believe Christina. Christina says, WB said the Flash movie depends on Justice League. What do you think, they will still make a Flashpoint movie since a lot of critics are bashing Justice League? Well, here's the thing. Critical bashing is one thing. And the critical bashing is not so bad, actually. On Rotten Tomatoes, when I looked at it, it actually has a better critical score than, let me see what's happening on Rotten Tomatoes for you guys. You could also check it for yourself. But if I'm not mistaken, its critical rating is above BVS, and it's above, hold on a second. Justice League is, this weekend, Justice League is making some good money. All right, that's cool. Yeah, it's above BVS. It's above Suicide Squad. Okay. This is the 5th movie in the franchise. It's below Man of Steel. It's below Wonder Woman. So which one have I left out? Man of Steel, Batman v Superman. Okay, it's the 5th movie, right? Yeah, so it's above 2 movies. It's above Batman v Superman, and it's above what did I say? Batman v Superman, Suicide Squad. It's above those 2. Okay. Currently, The average rating for this movie by the audience is 4.1 out of 5 or 8.2 out of 10, which is really, really high. All right. They're only about 113,000 ratings. So there's a lot more ratings to come in. So that tells you that both Marvel and DC fans, the actual people, enjoyed this movie. The critics, again, they had a dichotomy between the critics and the public, and this has been happening for most of the DCEU films. And it's a sad thing, but the critics didn't really particularly like this. But I think the critics have a bias against Zack Snyder, and they thought, yeah, this is definitely Zack Snyder's movie. It's a better Zack Snyder movie than BVS, you know, but it's still a Zack Snyder movie, and they just kind of panned the thing because of that. Because they just don't like Zack Snyder's style. Because Zack Snyder, his style of movie making is a little bit different to what the conventional. Most people go from a naturalistic point of view. Zack Snyder is very opinionated. Patty Jenkins got a pass for two reasons. One, politically, she's the first woman to do a superhero movie. And two, because it was Wonder Woman, it was a female person, and Hollywood's very much more liberal, so they decided not to pan that. And because of that, we got all these movements that are happening because of Wonder Woman, the Me Too movement and so on. Zack Snyder's Batman v Superman has also started certain movements around that started to look at the government and the governance and how things are going. And I know people don't like to talk too much about politics, but I don't have a problem talking about politics because I believe that in the end, I think art should imitate reality, and it's not about escapism. And a lot of people want to escape the reality and go into art, into some fantasy world. And Zack Snyder saying, no, homie, ain't happening. You know what I mean? You're gonna have to confront that. But I'm gonna show you, and I'm gonna show you a way in which you can deal with it. Here's a suggestion on my part, because it's an opinionated film he makes. He's a bold director. When I say he's a bold director, he got balls, man. The dude be commenting on everything. Whether you like his opinion or not, he gonna comment on it. You know what I'm saying? And usually he's right. I'm not saying he's always right, but usually he is. Christina Carter. I didn't like when they cut the Lewis and Clark farm scene short because I love Lewis and Clark and wanted them to talk about their engagement. That's the thing. What you're basically saying, Christina, is that you wanted more. So everything you saw in the movie, you wanted more. That's a positive thing. That's a good thing. What you're basically saying is, man, I loved the movie. I just wish I had more of it. And that's good. So you get a little teaser. You get teasers of little things. And then in the trailers, you got a little tease too when you talk about the ring. And so she was wearing the ring on her finger, right? So I understand that. That's cool. But what I'm saying is that shouldn't be a negative critique. Like, since not having enough of something is negative. You know what I'm saying? And so to get more, that's cool. You know what I'm saying? So I don't get why all this negativity towards this movie. And I personally, I know there was advertisements and trailers and stuff. I know Suicide Squad did something like that. But at the end of the day, you can't fault nothing in the movie. You know what I'm saying? You can't say that something in the movie was terrible. You know, oh man, it was a atrocious villain. No, you know it wasn't an atrocious villain. The villain worked just fine for what this movie was about. So, you know, Tom Cabler said, we are so lucky to have Patty Jenkins in the DC. Oh, we are fortunate to have Zack Snyder, David Ayer, Patty Jenkins, and all these other directors. But the thing about it is, we seem to take for granted what we have and don't understand how precious that is until it's gone. And that's so symptomatic of the DCEU world. It just reflects our world. So everyone was hating on Zack Snyder. Now that he's going, or he's gone, or it seems as though he's gone, all of a sudden, some people are hypocrites. They're like, oh, Zack Snyder is the savior of the DCEU. Now they're saying that. You're hearing all the papers and articles saying that because they know it can hurt the movie at this point in time by doing that. So they're doing that right now. But the truth be told, guys, the truth be told, if we're being super honest, right, Zack Snyder has always been, and also, may I add, Christopher Nolan, both of them have been interested in the DCEU's well-being. Christopher Nolan and Zack Snyder. And they're always watching, paying attention to the DCEU. You know what I'm saying? Because as much as Zack Snyder was the guy that was taken to launch this baby off, it was Christopher Nolan and David Goyer that had the idea to have this thing kickstart. So it's very much Christopher Nolan's invested in this as well. You see what I'm saying? So you guys got to understand what's going on. And you know, man, I'm happy to have had the DCEU, and I wish it a long and prosperous life. And for that to happen, this movie has to make bank, and we got to get it to $1 million. That's just the way how I think about it. And we can get it to $1 million. We can do this. This is doable. It's difficult, but it's doable. You know what I'm saying? All right, let's talk about some plots in the movie. So here's one place where you guys tell me if this was a plot or not, right? So in the movie, there's a scene in the movie where at the end of the movie, you hear Batman, aka Bruce Wayne, and he says, "She's glad." And you got to ask yourself, who is she? At no point in time do I remember or I recall anyone talking more about she. We know Steppenwolf was talking about mother, but at the end of the day, there seems to be a miss between, there's some information missing somewhere where Batman says she's glad. I think he's referring to something that has to do with the mother boxes that Steppenwolf was calling mother. But we don't know what that is. And so for some reason, Joss Whedon was not able to weave that in correctly. And by the way, that she's glad section and almost all the, in fact, all the conversation that you saw at the end of the movie with the superheroes on top of the ledge at the end was Zack Snyder. How we know that? You can see that the CGI for Superman, Henry Cavill, is not there. So we know that's a complete Zack Snyder moment. Maybe Joss Whedon affected the CGI crew or made the flowers and stuff pop out or whatever. But or maybe it's Zack Snyder and you just changed the color palette a bit. But at the end of the day, what we do know is that I don't know who she is. Who's this she that Batman keeps talking about? She's glad. Where after Superman says, I'm glad I didn't miss this. And Wonder Woman says, yeah. And then he says, yeah, she's glad. That's what Batman says. I'm like, she's glad? Who's she? You know what I'm saying? And then Wonder Woman kind of looks at him hard and then smiles again. So I don't know who this she is. And I think that's a plot hole right there. Can anybody tell me? I think I have to go back and see the movie again to see who she is. Anybody else saw any other plot holes? Tom Cabler says, if it wasn't for Zack, we wouldn't have Gal, right? If it wasn't for Zack, we wouldn't have the DCU. If it wasn't for Zack, we wouldn't have none of those movies. So, I mean, make of it as you will. You know? Christina Carter says, I think Bruce was talking about Diana when he said, now she's glad, because Superman said, I'm happy. I didn't miss this. And Diana said, me too. Now she's glad. But why wouldn't he say that about, okay, now she's glad. So that's why Diana looked at him kind of strange. You're telling me Bruce was making a remark about Diana? Wow. Okay. Okay. I'm still trying to get why he would say now she's glad, though. I'm still trying to get that. It is funny if that's what he was really saying. But why Diana? I don't get that part. If you can help me out, that'd be cool, because I thought it was a plot hole. I just couldn't. I tried to pick it up in each session, but I just couldn't get it. That's why she looked at him then, frowning. Okay, I get it. What? Now she's glad. Let me get it. Let me see where that's coming from, because they had a conversation. But Steve Trevor, she was leading. I'm not quite sure where that comes from, though. That doesn't fit together. Oh, right. She wasn't happy. Okay, yeah. There you go. Oh, wow. I'm so slow on that. That's right. She wasn't happy. That's true. Yeah, because she was head to head with him all the way through. She didn't agree with him, but she still went with it. Yeah. Okay. That's it. Yeah, you got it. Okay. Thank you, Christina. See, it's good to have a discussion, because I didn't get that the first time. But you're right. I should have gotten it, but I didn't get it. So there you go. Awesome. That's right. Now she's got. That's why she frowned. Oh my God, that's funny actually. Now she's glad, and he says it's so bland. You know what I'm saying? And man, I love the Batman's voice. Okay, so that was not a plot hole. Thank you, thank you, thank you very much. That's good. That's good. The other one I thought was interesting. Did you guys pick up on this one? Because you guys helped me out with this one. So the terrorist, right? He looks through the window. You see the police cars below, and then there's this guy with what looks like a scope looking at him, and then he tips his hot hat to the guy with the scope. Do you think that was a Deadshot using that scope? Zill Nation #1. Shout out to you, Zill Nation #1. People judge DC harder than Marvel to me. Absolutely. But they're the new guys on the block, so they're going to haze them a lot. They're going to haze DC a lot. So there's a lot of hate to DC. Just a lot of hate because it's such a different style. It's a different way of going about doing movies. And people have gotten indoctrinated by the Marvel formula, which is not, it's pretty shallow, but it appeals to the masses. It's like, you know, some pop songs, they're not deep or nothing. They just kind of hit and people like them because it's stress relief. So people prefer to go into the cinema, into this imaginary world that has no repercussions on their life and just disappear into it. So they call it escapism. So that's what some people see the cinema as. They don't want to be informed about nothing. They don't want to learn nothing. If anything, they learn minimal things and they hee ha ha all the time. Because right now in the world, things are kind of tense, you know what I'm saying? So that's why you get that kind of reaction. Because Thor Ragnarok to me is you don't want to know my opinion of Thor Ragnarok. Okay, I'm not saying it's a bad movie, but I just don't want to be negative about it. You know what I'm saying? I prefer not to, because if I start to go into Thor Ragnarok, you guys gonna be like, man, you a hater. You just, you know. So I just leave it alone. You know, I understand Marvel's not my taste in movie per se, and I just leave it alone because I knew that I probably wouldn't have liked it anyway because I don't like a whole set of laughing. I mean, Guardians of the Galaxy 2, that got me. Guardians of the Galaxy 2 really roped me in. I was cracking up because it was just so wacky. It was like out there, you know what I'm saying? And to me, Thor Ragnarok was trying to borrow off of that and be clever and funny, and it killed me. It killed the movie for me because the funniness is just like, you know, man, I can't just go into cinema and laugh stupidly. Like I can't take it, man. You know, I saw that movie once and I don't want to ever see it again. I'm sorry, guys. I just don't want to see no more. Don't tell me nothing about, and don't tell me about Infinity War. I don't want to see Infinity War, but I do want to see Black Panther. But I don't want to see Infinity War. I'm sorry, guys. I'm zoned out of that. Like, I'm sorry, Marvel. I mean, it's not my thing. It's not my style of movie. I can't take those kinds of movies. I just can't. I'll be sitting through it tortured. You know what I'm saying? You know, I can't take those kinds of movies. I'm sorry. The DCU was a breath of fresh air because I didn't care about comic book movies like that. I just didn't. You know, they got me though. Zack Snyder got me with Superman. He got me with Superman. Zill Nation. People judge DC harder than Marvel. Okay, yeah. Thor Ragnarok did not have stake to me in the movie. No, it's too funny, man. The only guy, I tell you, Idris Elba is the only guy that actually acted in that movie and put some kind of tension in it. Everything else was just a whole joke, the whole thing, you know. And I can't take those kinds of movies. I'm sorry. I found some intrinsic value in it, but honestly, man, it's like that's like penance for me. Christina Carter, I'm not sure, but someone said the terrorist scene was a bit longer and cut short. Yes, it absolutely was longer. Yeah, of course, you can see that. Yeah, that's absolutely correct, Christina. You're on the money again. Dead on the money. The terrorist scene was longer. The flashback scene, that big entourage scene with that big ensemble scene with the different people of the different parts of the world were fighting. It's a little bit longer as well. The scene with you could tell with Superman when they first revived Superman, that's a little longer. The Clark and Lewis scene is a little bit longer, and you can see most of that scene, by the way, is Zack Snyder. It's not Joss Whedon. Joss Whedon did. You can tell again just from the CGI. You could tell when it was Zack Snyder, when it was Joss Whedon. So I thought that was kind of cool as well, you know. Zill Nation, I think Ben Affleck's Batman is better than Christian Bale. Well, bro, I'm with you. It's better than Michael Keaton's. I think this is the best Batman I've ever seen. His arc is crazy, you know, because Batman goes through emotions that you wouldn't normally put Batman through, things that make him have different emotions. I just think the range and just the scope of what Ben Affleck had to act was just impressive. And I gotta say, I'm afraid of this Batman. This Batman, this Bruce Wayne, Ben Affleck Batman is badass. I mean, his voice alone is creepy. You know what I'm saying? He rules by fear. He's a good detective too. So I love it. I love this Batman. I love he's assertive. That's how Batman is. He's assertive. He takes action, whether he wants to lead or he doesn't want to lead. He does what he has to do. And I just think Ben Affleck killed it at this Batman. And this is an older Batman. You could tell it's an older Batman too. But man, I love it. Man, Ben Affleck did an excellent job with Batman. I don't know if he'll be in the DCU much longer, but man, I loved his Batman. I did. I dug his Batman. And he wasn't the most powerful, but he is smart. I'll give you that. Batman factors in he tries to factor in almost everything, except for the moment when Alfred said, I don't think we thought this all the way through. It was pretty funny. And Batman was saying, they're coming. They're all coming. It's like Batman, you know what I'm saying? I'm fanboying out. I'm thinking about the movie. See, the movie has so many different elements to it that make it enjoyable, as well as it's intellectually stimulating, as well as it's an action flick, as well as it's adventure drama, as well as it gives you the horror elements where that parademon just pop up on your face and be like, oh shit. You know what I'm saying? I loved that. And then Danny Elfman with his theatrical different take, which kind of reminds me of Justice League, the animated series, in a certain way, mixed in with other things. You know, you could feel the Avengers theme come up, but you know that theme is also kind of similar to the Justice League theme, the animated theme from 2001 to 2004. So, I mean, if you like Justice League Unlimited, all that stuff, the music kind of fits in with that as well. So I just think this was the perfect movie in a way. Not in the perfect way like how you would want to say, you know, you saw the trailers hyping it up, and I would have loved to hear Junkie XL's take on it. I would have loved to hear Zack Snyder's take on it all the way through. I would have loved that, but we didn't have the ideal situation. We had another director come on. He pulled in another musical director. Junkie XL was relieved, and they decided to shift it up, change it up a bit, lighten it up a bit, but still keep it as it is. And it came out enjoyable. Suicide Squad was also very enjoyable, but I think this is better than Suicide Squad in many, many respects. I think they really, for two different directors to come on board like that and to mesh that sweetly, that you can, certain things you just couldn't tell if it was Zack or Joss Whedon. You really couldn't, because there was no clues, no hints, you know what I mean? Let's see here. Zill Nation, I think they need to bring in Damian Wayne in a Batman movie in the future. They may. It depends again on how this movie does. They held up everything and they said, based on what happens with Justice League, we'll know what happens in the future. Because the way how people reacted to Justice League, you see, I'm telling you guys, the box office matters for Justice League in so many different ways. It does matter. That's why we, as the core fans, we got to flex our muscles and show the kind of clout we have. Because what we will do by having that kind of clout is now Warner Bros. Has to listen to us. All right. The DC fans who are not on board, we're the fans carrying the weight right now. Not even Warner Brothers right now. They're kind of holding with their fingers and toes, and they're wondering how much losses they're going to have to take, or they're watching panicky right now. They're really scared, right? Zack Snyder, he's also watching on to see what happens, how things transpire. You know, he's not really saying nothing. Nobody's saying nothing. I wish Zack would just come out and talk something like how Patty did, but that's probably not Zack, right? Zack wants it to play out. And it's all good. I appreciate Zack, and I understand he put his heart and soul into this movie. He had to step away. It's all good. I believe Joss Whedon put his heart and soul into this movie the best way he knew how, okay? And it is what it is. I think that at the end of the day, I think we as the fans who enjoyed this film, we need to be more expressive about it. If we can cover different forms of media, that's awesome as well. I saw one person publish something in the media, which I think was awesome online. I think we need more of that. We need to counterbalance the negative energy with positive energy. We need to balance off the cheat, and we'll be good. We'll be good. This movie will go crazy places. It will start to shock and astonish everybody when it picks up momentum. But it's up to us. If we like something, then let everybody know about how much you love it, and that's it. Christina Carter says, I love the history fight scene, even if it was cut short. It was best seeing everyone come together. Yeah, I think coming together is something that is powerful. You know, you don't have to always agree with people to come together with them on something. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's what this movie is teaching. It's preaching that, you know, and that's the thing that I think is so important right now. It's like the best message right now. And it's Zack Snyder film, man. That's what I'm saying. Joss Whedon wouldn't do something like that. Think about it. Joss Whedon did the Avengers. What was the message in the Avengers? It was coming together too, but it wasn't deep. You know what I'm saying? You think of Age of Ultron. It wasn't, well, some people would argue it was deep, but I wouldn't argue it was deep. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I got to say. You know, I think Watchmen show will connect to DCU to me. Yeah, they're hinting to the Watchmen coming in. Jeff Johns hinted to it in the comics, and I think they're going to try. I think they actually had it in Suicide Squad, where they had the little smiley face of the Watchmen in there, hinting that the Watchmen might be in this universe. So yeah, they want to do that. They want to do all the stuff, but it's really riding on Justice League. It really is riding on that. And I just really, you know, I'm with Debbie. I'm with Deborah Snyder. I'm with her. This is about the characters right now. It's not about which director. Zach and Deborah, they're past that. Okay, trust me. It's a community of directors. Right now, I think Joss Whedon is getting too much negative energy. I mean, to be honest with you, he started it when he liked a tweet. Apparently, he liked a tweet where it was saying that Steppenwolf was a weak villain. He started that shit. He brought that on himself. But I'm just saying, I think for all his hard work in this project, he shouldn't be treated like that. That's just my opinion. Zill Nation, I do too, Christina Carter. Zill Nation, the overseas money is bringing in more money than America does. Yeah, but that's still not enough to carry it past $1 billion. America is the biggest market for movies. It is the biggest market for movies. And while collectively worldwide grosses in equal to or more than America this movie has to do well in America as well. It can't just do well worldwide. It's not going to get the figures and the numbers it needs to break even and then make a little something. All Warner Brothers needs to do is make a little something. All right. And they ain't going to make a little something if they make $800 million. If they make $900 million on the higher end of the spectrum, they would actually have made a little something. If they make something, if they make $1 billion, they would have made a little something. I'm telling you, because they put out a lot of money on this movie. They went to the nth degree, which was kind of risky. It was very risky. And because of that risk now they got to make that money back because they got investors who want their money back. And plus they got to make a little something for themselves. So because this movie's budget was so high, if this movie's budget was $250 million even, it just needed to make a little bit more than BVS, but its budget's $300 million. So it means you got to make more than BVS. You just got to. You have to make a little something. You see what I'm saying? So that's the problem. And if this movie flops, listen, people, and I'm not trying to. Things are going to change big time for the DCEU. Big time changes, because they put out what they thought was the best possible situation, the best possible combination, and then this incredible gossipy rumor backlash hit them, and that's what's taking them out. It's everybody's saying, oh, it's the critics, and the critics were hard on it, and that's it. Critics been hard on every single DCEU movie except for Wonder Woman. They've been hard. So that never took out the DCEU. But by poisoning people inside who support the DCEU, these people figured out a way how to destroy it. You got to get people who are buying into the DCEU to not buy into it anymore. If we have strong DCEU support for this movie and good word of mouth, which is what we don't have good word of mouth. You ain't got good word of mouth, and the media's going thick on this movie, and then on top of that, the critics are bashing it. How is it going to survive? It can't survive. So the only thing now, the core people like myself, I was shocked when my own people, when people who are supposedly DCU fans, who supposedly see Zack Snyder's style, I was shocked when they turned against this movie. I was very, very shocked. I was unpleasantly shocked because I did not expect that. Tom Cabler, you know, I came in and I said, if this movie was crap, I'm going to let you guys know. I'm going to let you guys know this movie was crap, right? Because I went into the movie. Of course, I didn't spoil the movie for myself. I went into the movie and I was like, I don't know what to expect. I'm excited, but I don't know what to expect about this movie. And I left the movie very satisfied. I did not spoil the movie for myself, mind you. I didn't do that. So when I went in, a lot of things were fresh to me. So I enjoyed the crap out of this movie, and I can't get enough of it. It's a pity it's only showing in cinemas. I wish they could put out the DVD tomorrow so I could get the copy. I have a pirated copy of the movie right now that I look at. It's nothing like the theater, so I have to go back to the theater and go watch the movie. That's how much I like the movie. Okay, so I'm a real bona fide DCEU fan. I'm a Zack Snyder fan, and I don't just like Zack Snyder in word and be like, Zack Snyder's a god. I know his style. So I saw his style in that film. So y'all can't tell me this ain't a Zack Snyder film. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying. So let's see. I think the West Room will connect to DCU to me, the Zill Nation. Christina Carter says, I don't know how Justice League Part 2 is going to work without Ben Affleck's Batman. I hope they keep Ben Affleck and give him a solo movie too. He was great. No, I mean, Justice League 2 can happen without Ben Affleck's Batman. Without Ben Affleck playing Batman. It can happen. Yeah, it can happen. You know? So it's possible, but it's just that right now you guys are looking ahead and you're ignoring the fact that we have a movie to try and get on board. None of that stuff's going to happen if this movie doesn't do well. That's what I'm trying to explain to you guys, but you're not listening to me. You're just kind of just like the reality hasn't hit you how serious this situation is, and we have to do something about it. I don't care what Warner Brothers say. They can say they're going to do 20 more movies. They're not going to do a single movie more if this universe doesn't turn off. The one thing that's important to keep any franchise running is dollars. See, that dollars speak. And the thing about it was that the DCEU, the dollars were speaking. That's why they kept on doing movies. If this don't make dollars, you got to hear me here. It's got to make dollars. It's got to turn over a decent profit. We didn't have the turnover they wanted. They wanted it rapidly. They wanted a bulk back so they could pay back whoever. Now it's hanging in the balance. It seems to be dying off really rapidly in the U.S. It depends on what happens next week. We will know if this thing is going to die in the U.S., which is not a good thing as well, because they get instantaneous money from the U.S. where they got to pull in the money separately overseas. So it's a little slower to come in. So you got to understand what I'm trying to say to you guys. This movie can sink easy. It's a touch and go situation right now. It's at 500 million, but 500 million is not 800 million. It's not 900 million. You understand what I'm saying? We still got a ways to go, and it's touch and go all the way to the finish line. We got 2 more weeks before, 2 more weeks. Well, this weekend, and then we got next weekend, and then we got 1 more weekend, I think, before Star Wars: The Force Awakens. So, folks, this movie need to seriously make quid between that point in time, and then it needs to keep on making quid while The Force Awakens is there, and it needs to do it in North America. It needs to do that as well. It can't just do it worldwide. You can't just depend on worldwide figures. It can make 600 million worldwide right now, right? 600 million worldwide. It only going to end up with 700 and something million dollars. So that's not enough. It has to make domestically. It has to. The movie is now at 500 million. Again, my greatest movie ever. Yes, Leroy Kong. Shout out to you, my brother. It's nice to see you in this little chat here. And Tom Cable says, I need that music come together right now. Yeah. That's doom, doom, doom. I love it. And I love that it comes after Everybody Knows. Everybody Knows is a very sad song. It's very pessimistic. And it's talking about how the world has betrayed Superman and how, you know, they've gone after different things. the wrong guy, the guy that's setting him up, and now the plague is coming, right? And then Come Together now talks about the coming together because of hope, because of Superman. You know, I thought that was really cool. And even Icky Thump's song is very interesting. Leroy, let's see who we got here. Leroy Kong says, hello. Yes, my brother. Tom Cabler says, I need that music come together right now. Leroy Kong says, where are you? Great live video. Thank you very much. This movie is sabotage. The execs need to go. No. The execs don't need to go. The execs don't need to go. The movie is not sabotaged by the execs. That's what I'm going to say. It ain't nothing to do with the execs. Trust me, it ain't nothing to do with the execs. That's in-house stuff. It has to do with PR. You got to control the way how people speak about your movie. And you need to put out statements to refute things. If you look at Wonder Woman, how Patty Jenkins and everybody else, Jeff Johns, and even people in Marvel were collaborating with Patty Jenkins to ensure that people didn't say certain things and certain things didn't spin around in the media and just get a life of their own, rumors. Debunk those things from the get-go. And I saw David Ayer debunking certain things. I saw Zack Snyder doesn't do that. He don't just debunk just like that. And Joss Whedon, he was never a director per se. He wasn't really in charge. He was working for Zack, kind of like. So he never commented on nothing in social media. So what I'm basically saying to you is, even the leaks that happen in Warner Bros., the so-called leaks, the rumors in Warner Bros., people need to just get up and refute those things officially. You have to do that. You have to nip it in the bud one time. They don't do that. And so the rumors and stuff, their PR, it goes all over the place, and people build on more rumors and build on more rumors. And they don't realize they're laughing at these things, saying, the people don't have a clue as to what's going on. They're laughing at it, but they don't understand that stuff can come back to bite you in the butt. You have to nip it in the bud immediately. Otherwise, it's going to get you back. All right? It may seem amusing at first, but later on, it actually hurts you. So it's up to Warner Bros. To use their brains and sometimes have people, that PR especially, refute certain things and say, no, that's not correct. This is what really is happening. You know what I mean? Brazil Nation says, I think the DVD will bring in money as well. Yeah, I mean, it will. It will. Leroy Kong, these dirty-minded people hate Zack Snyder. It still would be bashed either way. It's a great movie in my book. Yeah, but it wouldn't have been bashed by the fans. That's my point. If Warner Brothers, if their PR or people immediately related to the movie were to refute certain things, whether it's on Twitter or wherever, but be honest about it, because some people, they refute things, but they're really going to do certain things. You got to be honest about it. Then the people could trust you guys for the official word, and then we don't have to worry about nothing. You know what I'm saying? It's a great movie in my book. Leroy Kong says, I did my part in supporting this movie. I spread the good word. I've seen it 12 times already. And you just keep on spreading the good word. We got a ways to go before the finish line. You don't have to always go and see it, but you can always encourage people to see it or put out good things about it, you know, whether it's videos or whatever. Leroy Kong, the DCU is far from being dead. Brother, keep that spirit alive. Keep that spirit alive. Keep that hope alive. This movie is far from being dead, and therefore the DCU is far from being dead. That's what we need. We need positive-minded people. Leroy Kong says the YouTubers and dirty-minded haters killed this great movie. They haven't killed it yet, brother. That's what I'm trying to say. They haven't killed nothing. See, just like what you said, DCU is far from being dead. This movie's far from being dead. You got to keep it positive. Now, you can't fluctuate now. All right? Keep it positive. We still got a ways to go. This is only the third weekend, and we're going to be into the third week. So the third weekend is going to bring about the third week of debut. So let's see if we can see what kind of impact we can make on future stuff, right? All right, guys. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I see a lot of you guys like this little discussion. We're going to have some more of these. We're going to have some more of these. Don't worry. But I wanted to just do one more thing. So we were discussing something a little bit about the characters in the movie. I just want to talk about some of the side characters. So we had Lois Lane, who was a side character. We had Alfred, who was a side character, and we had Martha Kent, who was a side character. We also had the janitor's wife and the janitor, but they were like almost minor. Oh, we also had Victor Stone, who was a side character, right? So we had to remember him. All right, let's get into it. So the janitor, The janitor is interesting because what the janitor did was introduce us to the parademons, that they were actually different places. The first time Batman saw the parademon, saw a parademon, I was awesome. I just loved it. How he was coming, the above and below themes. I don't want to go off on a tangent here. I need to really keep this brief. But you saw the parademon come up from below, because it's demon, right? Parademon comes up from below. And the parademons themselves, man, they look awesome. I mean, they're horrific. They got this thing. They devour things like locusts. And it's just crazy how detailed that parademon is. It's like an army sort of monster, an armied monster, a technical armied monster. It's crazy. And anyway, so basically what the janitor does is introduces us to the parademons, that they're scouting all around there in Star Labs looking for something, right? And the follow-up of that is that when we looked at the janitor, he was talking to Victor Stone, who was another side character, and how he expressed his sympathy for the fact that, not Victor Stone, Silas Stone, that Victor had died, because apparently the news was that Victor died. And he didn't get to speak to him about it for a while. And he stops and he talks to him about it. And the irony of the situation is that he's about to be converted or die and be converted into a parademon, because obviously he was converted into a parademon after the parademons devoured him, right? So it's sad because here it's ironic that the very thing that he doesn't know, Victor Stone has been converted into, he's about to be converted into something like that, and his wife now, she's frustrated because she doesn't know what happened to her husband. So you heard her cursing and swearing on television, which is the follow-up. And then of course the interviewer, the guy who comes to Lewis Lane talking about the kidnapping, is related to the TV, right? The kidnapping. So there's a trend of thought moving through there, which I thought was really cool. So what does the janitor serve? Why the janitor was in this movie? He was in there to infuse emotion to Victor Stone, the sadness of loss. And Victor Stone there's another thing. A lot of Cyborg was cut out of the movie, but we still got the essence of it, which was that Victor Stone was somewhat estranged to his son, you could tell. And he was trying to save his son's life because his wife's life was gone. And we don't know what the accident is that they're talking about. I could assume it has something to do with the mother box. But nonetheless, it was an accident with Victor and his mother. She died, and Silas was able to save his life. And we saw that in BVS. Here's something that was interesting. The clipping that we saw of Victor Stone in BVS, the Victor Stone we saw in Justice League, he seemed to have more of his body parts. Did you notice that? But in BVS, he was more of almost like pieces of body part. And then his father had to use the mother box. So maybe it was early on, his father was trying to pull him back, and he seemed to be getting worse until he was almost dead. And then you just body parts, and his father had to fit him back together. I don't know, but I thought that was interesting. So when we look at Silas Stone, we know that Silas Stone is likened unto a monster because he's always tinkering. He's always the scientist. He's almost like a mad scientist. He's like Mr. Frankenstein. And he's always looking at possibilities to do good, but he's not really thinking it all the way through. You could tell. So it's very interesting what kind of dynamics Silas Stone will have with him. But we see at the end of the movie, he has a dynamic with him where his father's still working with him, and he's modifying, he's changing to other things, and his father's fixing his body so he can do more stuff, right? So he has some kind of relationship with his father. And Silas Stone, from what we see, the window of Silas Stone is that he has been experimenting with different things with the Kryptonian ship, and he's looking for ways to get the Kryptonian ship to work again. And it seems like he sees his son as a project or a tool. He's happy that the son is there, but he doesn't seem to feel Victor's soul or his heart, and that he's not in touch with his son at all. And so when his son says, "You lost me," he still doesn't get what Victor is saying to him. Like, Victor is a totally different person. And when Victor starts to explain and show him what he's capable of doing and so on, and he walks away from his father's still reflecting on that. So I thought that that character added that emotional depth to Cyborg, so that we didn't even need all the other stuff that was missed out. That was enough emotional depth to know there was a tension between him and his father, but he still cared about his father when he was defending him against Steppenwolf and trying to get them out of there. So you could see that there's a connection between them, but still it's a strange connection, which I thought was very interesting. One of these side characters, Commissioner Gordon. Commissioner Gordon just appeared for a couple seconds in this movie. He wasn't there for very long, but you could feel that he had a long-standing relationship with Batman. He understood Batman, and he went for answers. And he provided information, and Batman provided him information. And their relationship is not. It's not. It's very much like in the comics, but you could tell that again. Batman's not a guy who's very hospitable. Let's put it that way. He got hospitable. He's very crude. He's very rough, and you can see that Commissioner Gordon's kind of gotten used to that. So I thought it was very interesting. So that relationship was not just, we didn't just get them trading information, but we also saw how Batman and Commissioner Gordon kind of interact with one another, and Commissioner Gordon kind of trusts Batman to some degree. So I thought it was very interesting. And then the other side, these other two ancillary or side characters are really important. Martha Kent. People would say, well, why do we need to know that Martha Kent, the house was being foreclosed, and she went by Lewis to talk with her, but she didn't. The conversation tells us that Martha Kent goes to Lewis, not to get help, just to talk with her, to see how she's doing, even though Martha's doing not so great, right? And she talks with Lewis about what's happening with herself, how the house is foreclosed, and they rapport, but you can see it. They're really talking to sort of comfort one another about the loss of Superman. And their dialogue really circles around that, which I thought was very interesting. It highlights, what Superman really is, the speaking of hope, and it gets us to understand a little bit more about Superman. And I think that was the purpose of Martha Kent. And then when Superman does come back, you can see her overcome with emotion on seeing him. Of course, that whole meeting with her and Superman is actually not it's not Joss Whedon that did that. That's literally from the original Zack Snyder cut, and you can tell it from Henry Cavill's face. All right. Anyways, so I thought that Martha Kent was used really beautifully, just like, and interestingly enough, if you pay attention to it, the scene where he hugs his mother is just like the scene when he comes back in Man of Steel from away and he gives his mother a hug. It's the same embrace. It's the same kind of effect. It's much more emotion involved, but it's the same effect that we see. So I thought that was a shout out to Man of Steel. Also, how Lewis was talking with Clark, and when they went back down into the fields and everything, shout out to Man of Steel when Lewis first met Clark at the cemetery. I thought that was an interesting symmetry right there, and that's another Zack Snyder thing. But I thought those moments added the humanity to Superman, because when Superman first comes on the scene, he's godlike. He's like a god, and then he has to be brought down to earth again as a human by Lewis. And I thought what Lewis does, which is another ancillary character when I move up from Martha, is she grounds Clark back into who he is. The Superman came on the scene, it was just Superman. And notice Diana was addressing him as Kal-El, his godlike state. And Bruce was trying to get Clark, she was trying to get the human side of him, Clark. He was trying to speak to Clark, and he called him Clark, actually. And Superman did not respond to that very kindly. He fought, he went at Bruce with a lot of animosity. Why did you bring me back from the dead and all this kind of stuff? And he lifted him up in the sky like a god does, and he challenged him like a god. So he was in a totally different state of mind, as if his rest had been disrupted, and he was like ready to kill Bruce. And then I noticed that Lewis was able to soften him down, bring him back down to earth, and pull out the humanity in him that he had. And that's what gave him the heart. And otherwise, he would have killed Bruce. I mean, he just discarded Bruce as if he was nothing. Like, Bruce was nothing to them. you know, nothing. And it was Lewis that helped him to refocus his mind back. And then when his mother came into the picture, it helped him to ground himself back into humanity. She was really happy to see him. You can see. So I thought that those two characters, again, were very pivotal to the movie. You see them again at the end of the movie, and you see Clark move. It seems as though he's moving in with them. He's going to stay in Smallville. It seems as though that's going to be his base of operations, and not in the city anymore. And it seems as though Lewis is either they're helping the mother move in, or they're going to move in with her, and all three of them just be together. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But it's very interesting, I thought. And it's also interesting that Bruce is connected to Clark now in many different ways. He tries to help them get back their home. You see his generosity on he's not the most hospitable, kind, gentle kind of person, but he definitely is. He has a heart, and he wants to be generous, and he wants to be helpful. He said something to Clark at the end. I don't remember what it was. Anyway, I thought I would share that with you about the other minor characters, and I didn't talk too much about Cyborg, the Flash, and Aquaman too much in a live spoiler discussion, but maybe we can leave that for another time. We covered Wonder Woman, we covered Batman, we covered Superman, we covered the ancillary characters, or the minor characters, and Aquaman, the Flash, and Cyborg. We know that those are like the budding characters. They're like the new members of the Justice League. They're like the new trinity of the Justice League. I thought it was interesting as well. You know, I know you guys are probably, all of you guys are still watching. That's crazy. I think you guys may have any other questions for me concerning Justice League. Fire away real quick, and we're going to wrap it up tonight. So go ahead and fire away your questions. I had a couple questions myself, though. But, you know, I'm glad that you guys are here watching this video. I wasn't expecting that, but I'm glad that you guys are here. And let me see. Let me do a roll call and shout out everybody again. So Leroy Kong, it's nice to meet you, man. Zil Nation, shout out to you, brother. I definitely want the DVD, man. I want the DVD, the Blu-ray, everything. Yeah, I really like this movie. Tom Cabler, nice to see you in the building, brother. Hope you have a good night. And we have Christina Carter, man. I really like your style, Christina. I like how you broke down that Wonder Woman bit. I would never have picked it up. It was funny. Actually, it's funny. It's a joke. I didn't pick it up. And we have here, who else we got? That's it. That's everybody. All right, man. You guys have a good night. I hope you guys get to see Justice League over the weekend and some other movie. I don't know what's out there. I'm not really into the Coco thing because I'm not really into Kitty's movie. I don't have no family. I got nobody, you know, no youngster. Oh, Dave Ethan, man. Whoa. Nice to see you. Shout out to you. Seeing Justice League for the 5th time. Ooh, okay. You trying to catch me? You're not going to catch me. Because Saturday, man, I'm going to see it for the 7th time. That's right. I'm going to see it 7 times Saturday. That's right. What percentage you give this movie? I give it 300%. Well, I don't know how to explain this to you. I don't really rate movies in percentages, but if I were to give it a percentage, I'd say it's about 85% movie. It's about 85% movie for me. You know, it's solid, man. It's solid. You know, BVS was 85% too. It may be a little higher than BVS because it's much more entertaining. There's a lot more things going on. BVS was a little bit slower. You know, I loved the slow parts actually because it had a lot of intrigue and it built a sense of the tension in the movie. I don't even know if people know what tension is anymore. Do Amazons and Atlanteans not like each other? Oh, you heard what Aquaman said. He said, back in the day, I know that the Atlanteans used to fight the Amazonians. So yeah, they didn't like each other back in the day. Yeah, but they came together and they fought against Steppenwolf, but they didn't really vibe like that. You know, they weren't friends. Let's just put it that way. All right. So no, the Amazons and actually in the comics there's a great war between the Amazons and the Atlanteans. It's a big thing. Yeah, yep. But you know, that was before Aquaman's time. So he was like all praising up Wonder Woman and everything. How she was strong and everything. She's beautiful, strong, and all that stuff. It's really funny. And I thought that was a Joss Whedon moment. I knew Zack Snyder did something along that lines, but probably a little bit more serious at certain points. But Joss Whedon, he just blew it out the water. Or maybe Zack had it too zany, and who knows? Joss Whedon reeled it in. I don't know. I can't tell you exactly. Leroy Kong says, good night. Peace to you, brother. Shout out to the brothers in Jamaica. Yo, from Trinidad. So, and yeah, you guys have a good one, man. If anybody got any other questions, man, shoot it at me because we're about to wrap it up. We're going to wrap it up right now. It's 10:28 in the night. It's about time we wrap this stuff up. I need to go for a walk. It's late in the night, but I got to go for a walk to pass out some gas. I know you guys better pass out gas. Yeah, I do need. Caribbean's nice, though. Beautiful weather. Leroy Kong will know about that. It's beautiful weather down here in the Caribbean. Jamaica's dope. Trinidad's dope. It's nice to be in the Caribbean, man. We don't deal with the cold. I'm not really into the cold, folks. Tell you that for sure. Yeah, but yeah, I just wanted to share this video with you guys. No more questions? All right, man. We're going to wrap it up tonight. Peace to you guys. Have a good one. And don't forget, keep hope alive and everything. In every aspect of your life, don't just give up, because the situation looks a certain way. Sometimes you just push this a little further, it'll do well. You got to always know when to pack it up sometimes. But I'm talking about generally speaking. Sometimes the situation may look dead, but, it's not. So you just have to act on your hope. And sometimes you get it, sometimes you don't. But at the end of the day, it's always good to hope. Be hopeful. All right, Christina Carter, you have a good night. Leroy, Dave Ethan, I'm sorry you came late. You can always check out the little hangout podcast section. You can just watch it a little later. But I'm about to go. Rolling out, folks. You have a good one.